Hello, everyone. Let me hear that again. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Well, today we will discuss a little bit about the architecture of empowerment. So, as you've heard, my background was in architecture. And when you think of an architect, you think of buildings. But there is a beginning to that. It's called your blueprint. The blueprint of empowerment. It allows the architect to feel like they are successful once they see that blueprint become a building. Well, as I transitioned into education, my mind started to think, can I use the same process, or can it coincide for me to think about a child learning in a classroom in the same way as I designed a building? Well, guess what? It was true. Children need a foundation. That foundation of learning allows them to take whatever their teachers have instilled in them to become the perfect or as near as perfect citizen that we see each and every day that we walk around. But even further, it takes 3 pillars: the blueprint of care, the foundation of commitment, and the structures of success. So we're going to talk about them real quick. When I think of that blueprint of care, I think about my past. What did I go through? Who were those dynamic people that I consider to be my mentors or teachers who allowed me to think that I was going to be a successful adult? So I want you to close your eyes real quick. Let's think about that favorite teacher or that person that you felt nurtured you to become the person you are today. Now open your eyes. Keep that person in mind as we go through this conversation. So I'm going to start with Mr. H. Mr. H for me was by surprise. And when I say by surprise, what I mean is I actually wasn't supposed to be in Mr. H's class. I walked into high school the very first day. I was super excited. I wanted to be an obstetrician gynecologist, and so I went to school to make sure that I was going to be in the health profession program at the newest magnet program in my area. I walked in, I grabbed my counselor, and I said, hey, are the schedules ready yet? She was like, just a moment, schedules will be ready in just a moment. So then they lined us up. I grabbed my schedule. I read it quickly. I saw I had an elective class first, so I was like, whew, I don't have to worry about having a core class first. I get to breathe when I first come to school each day. So it was time for us to go to class. The bell rang. I'm walking with my friends, and I entered the classroom. I looked around. I said, I see drawings on the wall. I see buildings everywhere. This doesn't look like a health profession class, but I'll wait till the teacher comes in. So Mr. H walks in, he gets ready to greet us. He asks us if we have any questions. Of course, I raise my hand. I say, is this the health profession class? He said, no, you're mistaken. This is the engineering classroom. I say, well, I'm supposed to be in health profession. I don't see it anywhere on my schedule. He said, well, we can get it fixed. Just give me about a week or two, and we'll make sure that your counselors take care of that. But I want you to trust me, and I want you to learn as much as you can while you're in here, because we want to make sure you have grades to take to the next class. So I trusted him. I continued to do the assignments, and then it was time for me to change my class. But guess what? I didn't change my class. I love that class. That was my favorite class. That teacher is to this day the reason why I am here with you, standing here, excited to share that story, because he made it so important to me to really just try something new. And that's what it's all about, being an educator. The kids walk in your class, they may not know anything about what you're teaching, but the best part about it is you're teaching them something new that they can take and make a skill for themselves later in life. So Mr. H, I went to school for engineering. I didn't become an engineer, we see. However, the skills I learned in design allowed me to start my own business on the side, I was able to do designs for my organizations that I've been in. So I was able to share a skill that I learned from that teacher because he was committed to caring for me, even though he knew I was not supposed to be his student that day. Now it takes me to my second teacher, Mrs. T, leadership. Remember, we're talking about the architecture of empowerment here. Leadership is key, I found out, because I moved on out of the 9th and 10th grade from engineering and kept going, and I ended up in a leadership class my 11th grade year. The leadership class was supposed to just be for student government kids, so I was like, okay, I'll put it on my schedule. I need another elective. I entered the classroom, and the first thing Mrs. T told us, she said, if you're going to be in this class, you're going to have to use your voice. You are the voices of this campus. So what you say is what happens for the rest of your classmates if you're going to be in here. That means activities, that means dances, whatever you think of, it's because your voice is being heard by the principal. So I looked and I said, well, that's not how I am. I don't really talk. So I asked my friend, I was like, how long do we have to talk? Do we have to make presentations in here? And she's like, yes, you have to present. Well, many don't know, but my 9th and 10th grade year, all the way back to elementary, I really didn't talk. I was really to myself. I was an introvert. Because of Mrs. T, that's the reason why I stand in front of you today using my voice. She taught me that if you don't say anything, you won't get anything. So you need to make sure that if you're getting a job and it's time for you to make a bid for something, guess what? You need to use your what? Voice. So that's the blueprint of care. Every teacher has it in them. Every educator has it in them. Our second pillar, the foundation of commitment. So most of the time when we talk about children's success, we talk about the child and the teacher. But guess what? There's another piece to that recipe. You cannot forget that the teacher needs support as well. So that's where I come in. I am an administrator, and so I go into the classroom, I'm supporting them with the lessons that they're teaching, but I don't just focus on the content, I focus on their well-being. Because if they're not okay, who's not gonna be okay? The students. So it's a domino effect. If I treat them with respect, I make sure that they're learning the information they need to ensure that the students are learning what they need, it all filters down to the student. And it allows the students to feel like they are successful. So I want you to think about that teacher one more time. And think about if you think that teacher was as excellent as they were with you because there was someone on that campus that was a leader that supported them, no matter if it was their department chair or their administrator. Someone gave them the emphasis enough to be able to share what they know with you and be confident about it and ensure that when you left that classroom, you had something that you can take into the world that was a skill. Now, as we move into our last and third pillar, which is the structure of success, I'm seeing a little vocabulary here that's matching with this theme here. But the structure of success follows what we call in the educational world the gradual release model. And that really means that that teacher is now empowered, they're in the classroom, they're teaching that lesson, but they're ensuring that what they're modeling, which we call the I do, they're able to bring it on down to the students to be able to learn that information with them, we do, and then they release them for a you do. Meaning whatever I've taught at the beginning of that lesson, I know by the end of that lesson, you're going to be able to do it. And that is what that means to empower. We walk into rooms each and every day, and as educators, we are happy to see our students leave us, but leave us to be even better than what we found them to be when they walked in. And that's the true method for empowerment. Now, before I leave you today, I want you to think about that teacher for the last time. What skill do you think that teacher left with you that you're using today? Just think about it, don't say it, but I want you to think about it. Because I thank both of my teachers for what they've given me, not just here today on this stage, but I've actually thanked them in person. Because I would have never known that just taking a class that I wasn't supposed to be in would allow me to have skills that I never thought that I had, as well as being in a classroom that pushed me outside my comfort zone to be able to be a speaker as I am today as well. So each and every day, as you are in your house with your children, or even if you're an educator and you're in a room with students, get to know them, get to understand them, ask them questions, find out what piques their interest, so that the next time you create a lesson, it's something that's going to be impactful, but most important, empowering. Thank you.